Hi there. Africa is a provider of the world except for Africans. Why is that? Why Africans are people who are not proud of their Africa? Why would they rather die living in Africa instead of dying making Africa better? My name is Tushai Ashir. I am the host of my Lovely Africa podcast, and I had a conversation with Francois, a young and patriotic boy living in Rwanda. You will be amazed by how he looks at Africa and his African dream. I wish that many Africans had the same dream. But before we dive into the conversation, follow My Lovely Africa on all streaming platforms: Ogele, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. And tell us, what is your African dream? Enjoy. Hello.
Hi, hi.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You?
Yeah, I'm good too. Yeah, thank you for accepting my invitation to my Lovely Africa podcast. You are one of my first guests, and I really appreciate your accepting to my invitation. So before we start, can you introduce yourself?
All right, thank you. So I'm also glad to be here. My name is Usanase Aime Francois. I'm a student in biomedical equipment technology at IPS Kigali.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm also a good lover, technology, just about programming and even machine learning.
Mhm.
And I'm 12, I'm 21 years old now.
So where do you live?
Oh, I live in different places, but now I'm in Uganda.
In
Yeah,
Rwanda. Okay,
yes, in
so
Uganda actually.
Francis, there is a non-profit organization that is called My African Dream. But we are not going to talk about that today. Have you heard about the term African Dream? We are not talking about the nonprofit organization. Have you heard about that term before?
Yes, I've heard it about the African dream. I will just refer to the others, how they think, and also how they have started just implementing the dream they had for Africa, even for their families and even the people around the continent. African dream, I may say that for me, it's like having these 54 countries just unite together, uh, having the same uh, vision, just aim to the same vision. So that's how I understand it. The cooperation, the commitment in everything, about the leadership in business, just to have these 54 countries together with one same vision. So that's how I understand African dream.
That's really nice. So do you think that how do you think that will affect Africa if the old countries become one, or if they unite and do things in the same way or with the unity? How do you think that will affect Africa?
I will start with the some of the these parts, if I may call it. Like we have East African community. So like if you can see how East African community has started, uh, so the way countries are having the same idea, even if sometimes it doesn't work as we expected, but you can see that some of those five countries that started the AIC have just increased in their uh, economy. Through that, they have just have the same vision, just like say, let's lower the revenues that at our borders, so we can have some vision. So if we all those 54 countries just unite together, uh, we will not even just have those foreign countries just to colonize us in this era called neo-colonization. I think that will be not so easy for them just to break through in, because the idea will just first we'll go through all the countries so we can have a same conclusion on whether they will just have some impact on our continent. But if we if those or we are not together, so I think it won't be uh, easy for them to break through. So the first impact is that we have a better uh, a better vision, just for the first. And the second, if you can see now some countries of Africa are developing in both economic and even technology. So imagine those countries that have developed developed yet or in developing, just connect with the one that they are underdeveloped and in developing. So imagine what will happen. So we have a better economy, same as that we have skillful people just to come up and start using these raw materials that are being imported in those foreign countries, just to use them. And we give them the raw materials, but they don't give us the finished product. They give us the last uh, category of what they have just done. Huh? So if we united, I think that will be so possible just to use our raw materials and like how those foreign countries use them.
Thank you very much. That's really a big insight from what you have told us. I think that would be really nice if it happened. But do you think that is something that can be achieved, or it will just keep being a dream? Because sometimes we have bigger dreams that cannot become a reality. Do you think that can be achieved, or it is possible? Yeah.
Uh, there's a saying that says that nothing is possible. Everything is possible, uh, but what matters is time. We still have a time for sure. Just for example, if you have heard those things that was happening in West Africa, those coup d'etats that is happening, I don't think that uh, the country owners, I mean the national people that come up with that idea of just removing some president that are leading. Uh, I think it's the external force that use them to push the current president to go away. Uh, so this will take a time. It will take a time just to achieve this goal, because we need to give there's ourselves education. So we need to have education on how we know things is different from how things is. So uh, if I may say, it's like those foreigners have injected us uh, things of greedy. So if you can see those presidents, just they being elected, and then so they have said we will do this and do this and do this, but when they get on the chair, so they stop thinking about what they have said as their goals. So they started feeding themselves and their families without looking at how people are. So I think the true definition of a reader is the person who looks after the people he leads, and then he know what they want, how they want it, and when they want it. But uh, some of us are still not knowing what they want, so we're still looking for ourselves. But if these things change, the education, and we can even refer to those heroes of our continent, Nelson Mandela, Sankara, Julius Nyerere, and even this guy Kwame Nkrumah. So if we just look at how they did things and then we learn from them, I think we achieved this, even if it will take 100 years, but uh, for sure, this will be achieved.
Thank you very much. But the education that Nelson Mandela had is the same as the education system that we are having now. And maybe our future generation will have the same education. But Nelson Mandela has the different idea about how he sees the continent, how he sees the people of Africa. And yesterday I was watching some documentary about young Africans who are dying trying to go to Europe in Northern Africa. So how do you think education will change, or how education can change to change our minds to love Africa? Because like you said, the education need to change so that we can start working for our dreams, so that we can start working for African dream. But the same education Nelson Mandela had is the same education we have. So there is something else which is different from education, which drives Nelson Mandela to do what he did. So how can that thing also drive us? We, I mean, you can explain it in your way.
All right. Thank you very much. The education I was saying is not the just in college, in primary school, and in secondary school. Uh, when actually when I say education, or when I hear education, I don't just hear those uh, courses and lessons we get in school, but it's, if I may call more education, I don't know, but the education I want to mean is whether just knowing what you want. So like studying, just learning from your ancestors. Like uh, we had those our ancestors. They knew what they want, so they usually fight for what they want. But when you look at this time, we don't fight for it. Just we sit and wait for it to come. Mm? Just like I think it's because of the wrong time we have been under colonization that have changed things uh, from just they have just created a gap from our ancestors and even us. But the education wants to mean is the moral education, just knowing what you want actually, and how you want it and how you achieve it. uh, I think that's what they want to mean.
Really nice, really nice. You explained something about the ancestors, and I was going to ask something about ancestors. So it really bring me to this point. You know, the ancestors Kwame Nkrumah, you know, the Martin Luther King was also fighting for the slavery independence, and all of them had dreams. Like Kwame Nkrumah wanted to see one Africa. He wanted Africa to be one nation, one country. And you know, Martin Luther King wanted to see the sons of slaves and sons of slave owners sitting by the table of brotherhood, with the future where the people will not be judged by their color of their skin, or but they will be judged by the content of their character. So do you think that dream has changed, or it's the same dreams that we are still fighting for? Like the one for the Martin Luther King. They fought for it, and then after some time they died. But is it the same dream we are still fighting for?
Okay, thank you. I may say that now seems different, but I don't know why. But according to what the Luther King and Muhammad was dreaming about and want things to be, uh, I think just for Luther King, I think he has achieved some, because we still see less racism in America. So you remember these things that happened in United States of America these past years about the Freud, and even when you look around and then you think, yeah, you say just they have tried their best. So what is there is just to keep on it. But nowadays when I look around and I see things that have just flipped over, I may say that about when let's talk about Africa. This dream of this Huruma has changed because doesn't seem to have that dream anymore. But what we I think we're dreaming is we want to have our things, just use our things and not just sending them and have those last produced products. But we want that first, just to have using our own, and then maybe later they were just thinking how we can unite together. But I've heard on this apostle saying that he has also a dream that the Africa will be one and have a same one president and even have a same language, which is Kiswahili. I think maybe he was referring to what the Muruma was thinking about. And even Muammar Gaddafi has this kind of having the same cadence, but it seems like we have to achieve it either next 50 or 60 years, maybe. But we still have a little dream on with what they had dreamed.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you said something about resources, and I remember something I read. It said that Africa, through its resources, provide aid to the whole world except for Africans, which means that the resources for Africa doesn't help Africans. They just help the whole world without Africa. That's something sad. It's not really something that we can be proud of. It needs to be changed because if we have something, we should be the people to be benefited from that thing, like especially from the natural resources which we have in our land. From the land, we have large land in Africa which can be used to grow crops and be people who are worthy in food. We don't have to fight for food. We don't have to fight for something like that because Africa is rich, and we should do our best to try to utilize our resources. And I talked something about food, and I remembered it's one teacher who he was my teacher, and he used to tell us that what we need in Africa is just someone who can give us food. We don't need anything else. We just need someone who can give us food. Other things we don't care. So for me, that phrase means that we should not do anything, or even if we do something, it should be just for food. So what does that that phrase mean to you? When someone says what Africans just need is food, what does it mean to you? Do you think other things we don't need them, or it's just some people who still need to be educated?
All right. In the first, I was saying that it seems like you have been injected of greedy. I may not offend the teacher who said that, but actually, it's because of the moral education I was saying he has from either community and parents or society. Uh, just for him or her, just to see it as if I eat and sleep, just nothing else I want. We need to change those understanding. Just like it's not about feeding our stomachs, not just feeding our family only. Maybe let's say we give this and then we have the food. So what about the next time? If we are out of the things that we are just giving and then have this food, means that we are not just thinking on next. So we want just to play an infinite game with the finite mind. Lastly, I was just reading this book of Infinity Game, and then they came that sometimes we play an infinite game with a finite mind. So we don't think whether tomorrow, how am I going to survive? Just we think of things of today. But uh, if I may say on this thing, just I would say, let's not think about today, but let's think even about tomorrow. Just let's think of for even our grand sons and daughters that we just coming when we are not here. So there's a quote that quotes that doesn't matter what you have. What matters that what you left. So if we left something that is tangible uh, for our grand daughters and sons, so this will be something that it's really good. Just instead of just thinking about ourselves and our stomachs, take as to where we our vision is. So we need just to think of what we want, and then have this kind of scope to where we want to go. So what we want and how do we want it to be. If we have just that understanding, so I think the those sayings of that teacher won't vary you anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. We have to leave something behind because I had someone, he was in a discussion with Steve Harvey. He said that it does not matter what you leave with your children. What matters is what you left in them. Because what you left to them does not give them the power to make something for their own. But if you leave something inside them, it will make them do something for their own. Yeah, I really like that. Before we finish, I have another question. But yeah, it's not like a question, but Africa has more than 50 nations. We have 54 countries. Every country has its own culture. You know, we have our culture in Rwanda. In Uganda, they have their own culture. In Nigeria, they have their own culture. In Liberia, in South Africa, they have the culture, they have the beliefs that they have, even though we may have some common beliefs, but they have something that they have which is unique. So how can we relate all those cultures to our dreams? We have to be one nation. So how can those cultures help us to become one nation? They are different, so it's not easy to combine something which is not different. So how can we relate those cultures?
Thank you. I think that also will be an issue, even a big issue, because if you understand culture, also understand understandings. So this brings a different also understandings. With my point of view, I don't think that we just matter much if we get just to unite. So there will be points. Why are we uniting, and what will be in common all of us. So is it the culture or is it the how we do things? So I think when I say unite, I want to sorry, I know I want to understand economy, just economics, just to have this kind of like in transportation. There will not be a need of extra money just to pay on the border where I want to export some goods, even if they're just money, but not just as much as now it is. So I think for this time, it's not easy just to have goods from Rwanda to Nigeria. So it requires much money just to export your goods in Nigeria. If they say unite, I want to understand just there will be this easy way just to have a trade in between the in the continent. When you say unite, I only understand that it will just be easier just to in migration, just to go from one country to another. That's how I understand it. So I think that won't just touch on the culture because that cannot be possible just to change a culture of people that have the origin of their country. So that cannot be easy just to have same culture and same beliefs. But I think what they want to mean that we can have same understandings on how to do business. That's how I understand unite. I don't just understand it. People just talk and even have the same culture, but in economy they will be the same. But I don't know if also the currency will be the same. But if that thing happens, I think even the others will also be easy to be happen.
Okay, thank you. I think that should be a must. Yeah, the can't should be the same. And yeah, the language, I think it's too far. If we have one language, it might be English, I guess, because now we are using English to reach more Africans. But we are not using it Swahili because for myself, I don't know much Swahili, but it might be the language for Africa, but that's not now because now the common languages, English and French, and some of them, the traditional African language. Yeah, if want to be united, we must have the same way to communicate. It should be a must, and the money should be the same. That's my point of view. So, do you think that achieving African dream should be only for people who are in Africa, or even someone who left Africa, like people in diaspora, can also help in achieving those dreams? Do you think how can someone in diaspora help in achieving those dreams?
All right. So I will start on our country, Rwanda. Here I was talking to someone, and then he told me, "Did you know that the number of diasporas outside the diasporas of Rwanda are somehow much bigger than the total number of citizens of Rwanda in Rwanda?" Then say, how comes? I may say that we have this kind of Ndi Rwanda program, which we see that the nation just the readers go outside and then talk to them, then remind who they are. So if you see now, so someone just coming back to invest, just to invest in Rwanda, just to increase the economy of Rwanda. So I would say that diasporas outside the continent or even in the continent. So because some will just leave their country and go to the other country, but same continent. I would say that if they just went out just to seek skills or even money, so they also need just to come back and help those that didn't have a chance to go outside too. Even this will reduce the this number of migrants that are dying in the ocean, in the Mediterranean Sea, and even Pacific. I think if just they go outside and seek that skills and knowledge. So they need to just come back, just also share the skills and knowledge they have to the local citizens. He can have what he went out searching for, so that his children cannot go he did or she did, or even just follow the path of those migrants who want to go to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. And I think that the much number of them just died. And then, but I don't know how they die, but I think some also have been just murdered, just like being drowned in the sea. But the diasporas have to understand that they leave the country because of something, so they have just to fight, not again for others just to leave it too, because he got that chance. Not everyone have that chance, so I think they want to come back. They have to come back and just invest in Africa.
That's really nice. They have to know that Africa is the only place that still has many opportunities in the world, and there is no other place like Africa with many opportunities like Africa have. They have to know that, and they have to ask themselves why people from other continents come to Africa poor and they live rich. They have to know that and grab that opportunity to come back. That's what I can tell every Africa who is outside. And I guess you asked about how they die. I saw a video last night, and it was really sad because did you know that there are two cities in Africa which belongs to Spain in northern Africa? Yeah, there are two cities that belong to Spain in Morocco. So those cities have the border of the fences which has the military grade security. So some people try to climb those fences and they die in the progress because they have many security, something which cut people. And most of them, even if they go out of that fences, they are severely injured, and most of them die in the progress. So that's really sad for someone who loves Africa. So we should learn to love our continent, Africa. So Francis, as we finish, I'd like to give you a chance to ask me a question. Any question?
All right, thank you. I thought just we're going to conclude, but I also had this question. According to you, let's suppose that you have children and you have this money, will you take your children outside of the continent just to have better skills so that you can come or she can come back and invest in Africa? Or you would raise him or her in Africa and then send him or her outside the continent? Or how will you do it?
Well, that's really a hard question. I did not expect that, but when we are raising children, we decide for them until they become to the level of where they can decide for themselves. So, what parents in Africa need to do, like from my point of view, they need to train their children, because I might send my children outside Africa and they go and forget Africa. And you might expect them to come back and they invest in Africa, but they might not. So what I can do is making sure that they get the education they need in Africa. If I have money, I can be able to do what I want for them. Like if I want them to get skills, I can buy them equipments to run with. I can pay. There are some decent schools here in Africa which give the which gives the best quality education than some in Europe, or in America. So I can pay for that in Africa, so that he or she can grow with the ability to see how Africans are living, and grow my children to have the mindset of solving African problems. Because you see, if someone goes out of Africa, I think it really becomes hard for them to know the actual Africa problems. It becomes hard for them to understand how Africans are living. So what I will do is just pay for them the schools in Africa. And when they decide to go outside Africa, after they get to the age of deciding for themselves, I can let them. But before that time, I cannot let them leave Africa. I can just pay them to study in Africa.
All right. So the reason why I asked you, lastly, I was watching a
Mm.
documentary called "The Mask We Live In."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary just talking about how we think of there's foreign countries as a paradise, uh, but they say that it's a hell. Just also, His Excellency said, "Why are you just getting your sons and daughters outside the country, thinking that you were raising them wisely, or just you're giving them poison? You are poisoning them." Actually, we don't need just to go outside just to seek. No, we don't want just we don't have just to send our kids just to be raised outside. So I think it will be better if they're just raised in the country. So at the age that they will feel that they want just to go out and see the other world, maybe they can go. But have the this moral education I was saying. And also parents need to teach their children how what they have and even history. So we need just to teach them how to fight for themselves, just not waiting for things just to happen, just to do things before it happens. Yeah, that's what I can say. If it's maybe it's the last.
Yeah, yeah, it was challenging for me after you asked me, so I had to think about something, but I really mean it. That's what I should do, and that's what I can do. So, thank you, Francis, for this great and powerful conversation we had. I hope many Africans can see this video, and I wish it could happen, because most of the time we don't do things because we don't know, and that's why this podcast might help, and it will help. If people watch it, it changes something on them, changes something in their thinkings and how they see things. And I wish that can be a reality. Our dreams, we can make them a reality through working hard. I thank you, Francis, and thank you for accepting my invitation. This is my Lovely Africa podcast, and see you next time.
See you.